Okay, so I decided to do a reading on the Vatican. Um, and bear with me as this was one of the most visceral and heartbreaking readings I have done so far. And also, it is a reading that makes me question my own sanity. I mean, not really, but I guess my skills are getting better, or maybe my imagination is getting bigger. I don't know which one, but but rest assured that the things that I tell you in here that I got, I questioned myself deeply and repeatedly. Are these things true? Is this a yes? Am I crazy? I check and check and check and check. And every time I got a yes, 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 yes. And also, it would be so difficult to manufacture the links between everything I got, a word here, it's the same word over here, and this and this mean everything all came together from separate parts of the reading, that like freak you out. And I have been freaked out. But the third thing that makes me just I have to at least entertain the idea of believing what I received is the energetic and physical response that my body, that I've gone through. Anyway, so enough with the explanation. The Vatican, the archetype of the dragon, and I guess in Jung's terms, the dragon represents as the archetype chaos, transformation. I'm not so sure of that. But it represents the ultimate fear or obstacles in someone's life. I have to. Um, but also in this case, what I saw when I was asking about the archetype was I saw this big giant dragon wrapped around the Vatican itself. And of course, when I checked in, it really represents the draconic reptilian energy control system. Okay, so but both of those meanings are true. It's the monster. Okay, so what I want to say is I feel what I got yeses to that are actually in uh, literally happening. But also this reading can be completely metaphorical. So just lost my train of thought. So whether the dragon and the Vatican and everything that I got is real, what's actually happening, or it represents our most hidden thing, it doesn't matter. The whole thing is just truly sad. Okay, so when I first just check in, just to get some visuals of the Vatican itself, and then I get a first visual, and the first visual is a gargoyle. Okay, I could have made that up because a gargoyle, and we all kind of already know if you're watching this channel, if you're into spirituality a little bit, and some of the things are going, we pretty much know that the Vatican is not exactly have the best interest of humanity. Okay, we could at least agree on that, perhaps. I don't know. Um, and then, so when I get the first few images, and then I go deeper, and I become one with the Vatican structure or the person, the being itself, and it gets a little bit deeper. Okay, so um, what after the gargoyle, what I then saw, which I know nothing about this stuff, was like it looked to me like an angel or a warrior angel, but it turned because it had a red coat cape with a white cross, and I thought, oh, this seems familiar. And that was at the top. And what I'm taking it to be is like the beginning of the Vatican and the Catholic tradition. And then there was this black smoke in between that. And yeah, that's what I saw. And so when I looked up, at first I was being led to the Knights of Templar, but they have a white cape and a red cross. But then after doing some more digging, that person with the red coat and the white thing represents like the original, it's the Catholic military. Well, now they're a military force, but they were, I'm probably butchering this information, but they were called the hospitalaries, like hospitality. And they would go around and they would do good for the poor, okay, on behalf of the Catholic Church, the hospitaliers or something like that. But then later on, when the church got more corrupted, they turned into the Catholic military force. Now, I would never know that, but I think we get images in our readings to say, to somehow force us, or not force us, but to go, look, you're on the right track. You could have never known. I knew nothing about this. But then the black smoke representing, oh, the goodness that originally started off has been tainted by a black force. So that's how I'm interpreting it. Okay. So then when I empathetically became, sorry, I can already feel it, empathetically became the Vatican, just asking to be shown, is there anything to be seen here? And this was not like, oh, I'm getting an image. This was a warp, like a warp that I had access, like for a split second, I got access into seeing something, a real thing, and then out, right? Like I, not an image that came in as a representation. And what I saw was this like like an alien mothership kind of control system. Sorry, this has been so visceral for me. A control center, Draco reptilian control, like all this came in, like it was immediately known. And this control center is sending out frequencies on Earth that disrupt the natural energies and disrupt the feminine consciousness, the feminine frequency, the feminine aspect of source, which will come, like you will not believe the connections. And this frequency is called the machine of forgetting. Um, and as I was empathetically in this, the frequency, the energy started coming into my body. And actually, I was just out for a walk and I was asking, is this energy almost like gravity? And I got like a huge hit. And it's this force and it gets inside of you. It's what we're all feeling, okay? We're all deep down in our beings, we feel like we're being crushed, we're heavy, we don't feel comfortable in our bodies because I think it has a disproportionate gravitational pull or more gravity than natural gravity. Look, I don't even know what I'm talking about here, but the frequency entered into my being and it was like so much rage and it's the feeling that I talked about where in my August energy, it's like everything is a lie, deception, blah blah blah. It's so out of alignment that we don't even know what to do with this frequency. And it's so and it kicks us out of our natural connection with earth, and the feminine, the feeling body. So it just is crushing energy. I could not have made that up. And it was also anyway, that's enough said for that. So there's some kind of Draco reptilian machine of the Vatican that it, whether it's literal or metaphorical, it doesn't matter. This is what is coming from the Vatican. Um, okay. And then I was like, okay, I have to move away from this. And then I just briefly asked, um, because the Vatican is representative of the Catholic Church. And so part of this reading is about Catholic Church because it is the mechanism in part, while I think that there is a physical, energetic element that is dampening, we know this, it's messing up the frequencies on the planet, disrupting what is should naturally be coming in. The Catholic Church, I believe Catholicism or Christianity is the largest religion on the planet, I think. It's also a disruptor of our natural knowing, okay, of God and source. Um, Catholic Church equals false teachings? Yes. Now, in regards to the Pope, I'm all over the place on this, so hold on. Is the Pope aware of this alien, draconic, blah, blah, blah? And I got to know. Okay, we'll get back to him later. Yeah, he nearly broke me too. Um, and I was like, oh, well, who would be aware? Can you just show me who is aware of this mechanism that's going on? And it was like, and I would have never thought this. Bush, let's see, what order? Bush, Trump, Clinton, Obama. And I was like, oh, okay. So all the big manipulated, controlled leaders, because I wouldn't know other countries' leaders too much. They know about this. So, they know about this control frequency or just the control plan. Um, oh yeah, I wanted to go back. I should have started off with this. I just wanted to look at the word Vatican. Now I know the Vatican itself is a representative of a place, like the Vatican Hill or something. But the word itself, it bothers me. Now, if the Vatican were functioning, I just love to do the numbers, but it's very telling, like the fucking numbers, the numbers never lie. If the Vatican was functioning in the best interest of humanity, here's what it would say. The foundation of the Vatican number system is 3-3. 33, which is a master number, but it's also the occult number in the shadow. So if it were working for the best interests of humanity, this would be the three represents humanity, that humans are here to express the divine intelligence and create blah blah blah. um then the next number would be is all about feeling God within. So the Vatican would help us feel God within, define God within, so that we can manifest God in the physical plane. But the opposite, because the Vatican is not working in our best interest, is the three represents shame, guilt, finding our value outside of ourselves. And then the opposite of feeling God within is trying to find God without. And then the result of this is the authoritarian power of the church. I mean, the numbers don't fucking lie. And is it not a complete representation of what's happening? Okay, so let's move on. I did my little census check-in, just checking in to see what else the Vatican represents. Vatican, perhaps. Yeah, I'm really now focusing on the structure of the Vatican. And smell, pig, I saw flying pigs, pig slop, poop, and that represents, unclean, stained, rock, hitting rock bottom, sin, and spiritual lowness. Okay. Um, taste, I was tasting like burnt electrical wire, like somebody chewing on that. And of course, sacral would mean our relationship with others and the world. And this is a warning. This is a warning saying that there is an energy overload. And of course, if they're sending out frequencies that are not in alignment with natural frequencies, then of course we have energy overload. For the solar plexus, what is it expressing? I saw vultures and vultures represent exploitation and death. Okay. Touch, like the heart, is there a heart to the Vatican? And touch, shock, of course, electrical frequency, and frozen, physically cold, frozen, but also frozen. And remember this word because it comes up later. Okay. And then throat, silence, but, and remember this word, it's very important later. Gonna cry. Silence, but my head was being forced, twisted, really twisted to the right. And what is the right? The right is the masculine, the right controls the left brain, right? So it's a twisting. There's no expression, but a twisting of the mental masculine frequencies. That's all I can figure for there. Well, I did see like a doo-doo-doo. So they like have one message and it's that, but it's silent. It's a silent message. You're not going to really hear it. It's anyway. Okay. So I go and I say, okay, give me a hexagram or a gene key, same thing, to tell me a little bit more either about the church or the Vatican or what's going on here. Kid you not, I get hexagram 24, which in Gene Keys terms is silence, which is the highest frequency of this gene key, with the word addiction. Now, we will talk. Addiction is expressed as being frozen. Do you see all the connections with the words? Now we'll get on with it. But what does the I Ching have to say about the Vatican slash Catholic teachings? And it says promotes, let's see, pride and its man-made false teachings, instills a sense of punishment from authoritarian rule, along with the sense of guilt, shame, punishment, and the idea of repentance. Now, I never knew these words were represented in the I Ching. I've never gotten that hexagram with that line before, so I could not have made it up. This fits perfectly in regards to the Catholic Church, okay? But when you get and you look at how the Gene Keys interprets this hexagram, and it talks about addiction, and it says in there that we are addicted because we can't sit in silence. Remember this word, right? Silence. The Vatican is disrupting our ability to be silent because it's constant mental. And one of the ways that this addiction to doing, and whatever, because silence is so not because they've broken the frequency, the natural frequency. Silence and stillness is not natural to us. It instills a great deal of physical fear in the body. And I know many people, including some of my friends, that have the inability to sit still and be in silence, that it invokes a great deal of fear. This is not you. This is the disruption of the natural frequencies on earth that your body has never experienced. Anyway, one of the ways that this addiction cycle happens, Richard talks about it being frozen. Like, remember? And remember, I was touching the heart, frozen, shock. Because it is in the moments of stillness and silence that we get the creative feminine impulse. And this is the impulse that is being disrupted through that frequency generator. Okay. And then it gets so disrupted that we end up being frozen and we don't even move forward in life. We just like, I'm frozen, I can't do anything, I can't do anything. Okay. So I can't I literally cannot manipulate to make all this, like I wouldn't have known. Okay, so that's very fascinating. Um, okay. And then that then today I said, okay, is there anything more? Because basically we already know that the Vatican, blah, 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 and we guess we could have figured out that it was Draco reptilians and the frequencies coming out of there. As well as you could tell by the geometric, like everything in in the building is structured for frequency and sound, right? Total disruption. Okay. I don't care how beautiful it is. It's not the correct frequency. Okay. So today I asked, is there anything that you can show me that is not known or not known by most people, like something very secretive? And yeah, and once again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. This could be metaphoric for sure, but I get that it's literal. What I saw was there was a prisoner. It's like all the Netflix movies that I've watched are coming true in this reading about the Vatican and secret things and holding God's prisoners. Yeah, what I got is there is a female godlike being, an aeon or a descendant of an aeon, which is, yeah, we'll get to that later, imprisoned in the Vatican. This being um, attempted to come into the matrix of the earth matrix to free or imbue earth with the feminine quality, this creative force, this thing, the feeling consciousness, because right now we're in thinking consciousness, and that is not the true consciousness of consciousness. It's a feeling consciousness. So as she entered earth, um, she became trapped and caught because of the frequency, and they caught her. Now, okay, could be all metaphorical. Um, and they have her trapped, and she's not in physical form, but she has a visible form. So there's like a subtle body, because the lower you come from higher dimensions, obviously form creates, right? Like a ghost or whatever. So there is a captured being. Okay. And yes, she is held in a structure. And I'm sorry, this this being uh is in our, oh, I don't know how to say this. The connection is crazy. In our world, we would call, like, she would be considered the Mary Magdalene energy. Okay. And what I got was in Gnostic tradition. Okay. Oh, okay. So I was getting, okay, is she like the Mary Magdalene energy or a descendant of some god? And I was like getting a yes, you're getting close. And in my mind, I could feel a name coming through. But because I would, if you've never heard a name like that before, it's not going to come through. But I saw vowels like E and ends. Okay. So when I go do my Google search, like, oh, is Mary Magdalene connected to an Aeon, blah, blah. So it led me through a whole thing. And what I found was, what I got was this Aeon, this being, this godlike being that came down. Her name is Enoa, Ennoa, right? Vowels and ends. And Enoa in the Gnostic traditions is either the same as or a direct just the of the original female source, like Shiva Shakti, okay? Shiva Shakti, and then they have the monads, right? The aeons, the godlike qualities. And the aspect, Enoa is a direct descendant, or also known as Sige, Sige. And what does that mean? Silence. I mean, do you not have chills? That's exactly, I got silence here, silence in the gene key, and this feminine energy coming down that was trying to help humanity is a direct descendant or the same step down version of the feminine, original feminine source energy, and she's known as silence. I kid you not. Anyway, but in our world, in the past or whatever, we would say, and Mary Magdalene was at one time a direct descendant of Enoa. Okay, so it's all kind of the same energetic line or monadic stream. Okay, does that make sense? And so when I was like, oh my God, well, this is breaking my heart. And I asked, will she be free? Will she be freed? And I got a yes, like eventually and soon. Okay. And I was like, how? And the answer again, just like in my other reading, by the hearts and minds of men. So it is really, and here's how we're imprisoning. We are actually also imprisoning this feminine quality. And I'll tell you why. Um, First of all, only the oldest controllers on this planet know about this imprisonment. Okay. Um, she does hear the prayers that people say to Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene. Um, it does not help her. This she is suffer. She suffers when she hears these prayers. And I asked, well, does the devotion and love that people hold for her help her? No, because it keeps her imprisoned because she is seeing the people again praying to gods outside of themselves. And this creates suffering for her. It breaks her heart. And it was breaking me. I can't even tell you what I was feeling. Okay, so let's move on. Okay. And then I just decided to check in with Pope Leo, and yeah, he has no knowing of what's going on, but he is completely bought in and controlled and manipulated and bought into the male uh, control system of the population and God outside of them. That whole control. There's nothing there. Okay, there's nothing. Don't trust. Okay. Um. Uh. Yeah. When he was talking, I was like dog breath. Um. Let's see. His base burnt energy. Um. Sacral sour lemons. Heart was nothing there. I could feel nothing. And then his throat had a lock on it, meaning he's completely manipulated and just doing what the control system talks about. But when I was tuning into him and the lockdown, and I could hear he was talking about, I don't even know, he wasn't talking about anything, but I could feel he was just reciting a script and people are buying it. And it just took me all the way back, and it was as if Enoa and Silence herself was pouring through me, or the creative force, and it broke me, and it brought me to tears, and sobbing. And this is not coming from me. It was not coming from me. And it's the divine feminine and how it's so trapped. It has no expression on this planet. Anyway, I realize this is a long video. Sorry, but this was so deep and so disturbing that I hope you were able to stick through it. Okay, until next time.